Hello world, it's Birdo Prey 5, Cupflaw, and welcome to a video that's not a review of Star Trek, but a review of a actress from Star Trek. And as many of you are already aware, this past week and last week, there has been some unusually cold and damaging storms in Texas. And millions of people were without power, many without water. Food became critically low. And even now, I don't think things are completely back to normal. And most people, most Americans, uh, regardless of their political philosophy, to their credit, did wish but nothing but the best for the people stricken. No one state has a monopoly on tragedy. Okay, no one ideology has a monopoly on tragedy. We know very liberal California gets their wildfires and their earthquakes and their mudslides, and we all hope that the people who are impacted by those natural disasters get the care they need and are nothing but the best. We don't take it out generally on the population as a whole, uh, whether it be California, New York, Louisiana, or Texas, But this week or last week, Marina Sirtis, counselor Deanna Troi, arguably supposed to be the most empathic individual in all of Star Trek, decided she needed to share something with the world. And she did that, of course, via her Twitter account. Now, Marina and I have had a couple of run-ins on Twitter before where she has directly responded to my posts, and I directly responded to hers back, and she responded back, and I responded back, and then she blocked me. And it was only after several days and a mutual friend who I didn't ask him to, but he heard what happened, and he on his own asked her to please reconsider and unblock me because I was a fan, and I was. And I'll give her credit. She did on someone's word that she didn't know from anyone. She did unblock me. And I think it's because I'd like to think it was because she knew what I was saying was right, even if she didn't like what I was saying. But for whatever reason, she did unblock me. And then over the years, she started saying some crazy stuff to the point that I actually just unfollowed her somewhere along the way. And I didn't know, what she was spouting until I heard it from other people. So in case you've been living under a rock, Marina Deanna Troi said recently, "Don't get me wrong. My heart bleeds for what the Texans are going through. Though right now, the mean girl inside of her says, you get the government you deserve. And they have voted Republican across the board for the last 20 years. I don't know how to begin to respond to it. Or arguably, if I didn't have a previous history with Marina, I wouldn't even be doing this video because it's been brought up by other people. The fact is, Texas is barely a Republican state, although we like to think of it as a Republican stronghold. This last election, it was only a few percentage points that it went Republican. The major cities, Dallas, Houston, are almost entirely controlled by Democrats, as most major cities are. Austin, Texas, well known as perhaps the most one of the most liberal cities in the country, and a beautiful city from what I've heard. Before the virus, they had music, they had concerts, they had South by Southwest convention. Uh, from everything I heard, it was a beautiful place to visit. I've only been to Dallas a couple times in my life. I wish I'd got to spend more time in Texas. But Texas is a purple state. It's not all Republicans. It is not by any means a solid red state. And it has mixed government. It has Republicans and Democrats. So I know Marina, let's just say, I don't believe she's living in the United States these days. And if she is, I don't think it's full term. I think she calls a different country home most of the time. And you know what? She doesn't have to understand how the state's politics work. But if you don't understand what a state's politics are, don't make a tweet about it, because this is just, besides being mean, it's pretty embarrassing. Why does there need to be a mean girl inside anyone? And if there is a mean girl inside you, don't put it out on Twitter for everyone to see. And yes, a lot of people complained. To their credit, people on both sides say, "Hey, Marina, this isn't the time. This isn't the place." And I will give credit where credit is due. And there's not a lot I can add to this particular post. But I do want to bring up the post that her and I did interact with directly. And that post takes us back to December of 2016. And, excuse me. In her last post, the one she posted about Texas, she did hashtag Beto for governor. Now, I don't know who this Beto guy is. Obviously, he's some Democrat. But ironically, and this is completely unrelated, the post her and I had a back and forth with back in December of 2016 was actually her responding to a guy named Beto Villa, who is, as far as I know, just some YouTuber, somebody on Twitter and YouTube. I haven't been to his channel, but he's got several thousand YouTube and Twitter followers. Basically, this Beto was sticking up for Melania, I think it's Melania Trump, the first lady, or the first lady elect at the time. And Marina was even then angry that Melania was going to be first lady. And Beto says she came with a permit because they were arguing over her immigration status. She came with a permit, then she changed it to permanent. Besides, she's a plus, a well-educated Dane. Eat your heart out. And to which Marina responded, exactly, how is she a plus? Because she's pretty? I would hope that in 2016, we look beyond that. I hope you don't have daughters. In 2016, Marina Sirtis was already so angry that Donald Trump had won the election before he'd even taken office. She was jealous of his wife. She was jealous his wife was pretty. And she translated that somebody would call her a plus. No, the guy didn't say she was hot. The guy didn't say she was pretty. This was Marina assuming that's what he meant. That, oh, because she's hot, she's attractive, that's the plus. No, Marina, those were your assumptions. But even if they were, so what? I would hope in 2016 we look beyond that. I hope you don't have daughters. What an awful thing to say to somebody you don't know. I hope you don't have daughters, because you recognize that a adult, a 50, she was she was 46 at the time, 50 years old. Melania is now an attractive woman. Just to recognize somebody as attractive, you hope he doesn't have daughters. That is Looney Tunes thinking. And even worse, he never brought that up. You brought that up. You brought up her looks, Marina. You brought them up. And so I responded at some point that it's kind of weird that the member of the TNG cast, who was clearly hired for her looks, mostly. Actually, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I said, for both her looks and her acting ability, is the one that's going to criticize judging somebody for their looks in 2016. And to which Marina originally responded that she wasn't hired for her looks. She was hired for her acting ability as Counselor Troy. Now, and to which I wrote back, she herself has commented that, she knows why she wore a uniform that was different than everybody else. Everybody else wore a Starfleet uniform, and she wore what she called the space cheerleader outfit. There is a number of interviews, you can go back, and those were her words. She was the space cheerleader. She was the only one on the ship who had a different uniform. And by different, I mean a V-cut, low-cut uniform most of the time. Not a traditional Starfleet uniform. It wasn't until the end of the series did she finally get put in a regular Starfleet uniform. So she knows damn well why she was hired and what she was there for. She wanted to change her mind. She wanted to rewrite history. And she told me flat out and said, no, she was hired only for her acting ability. And I was like, no, Marina, I said, listen, you were hired for a combination of your acting ability and your looks, but you can't honestly sit there and tell me that someone else with great acting ability, but without your looks, was seriously going to be considered for your job. To which she just, stopped responding, which was fine. But we had a little back and forth, and then she blocked me. And then once it was unblocked, we didn't argue over it anymore, because I basically unfollowed her soon after. So there's this recent article that came out that I found out about Star Trek Picard. What was Marina Sirtis hated most about returning, and her favorite part? Well, we don't need to worry about her favorite part, but let's scroll down here and see. Okay, that was the best part of returning for her. But what was it that she hated the most? She kept her wig from Star Trek Nemesis, because the Star Trek Picard writers didn't even know she wore a wig or contact lenses. They didn't know they had to get anything for her. They just thought that she I guess, came in as is. That was interesting. She felt like Carrie Fisher returning to Star Wars. She felt like she was Carrie Fisher returning to Star Wars. That's interesting. But here is what the thing Marina Sirtis hated the most about Star Trek Picard. And basically it says, well, in the 80s and 90s, basically they filmed The Next Generation in standard definition, and most people had 20-inch televisions, and everything was kind of all fuzzy. But in Star Trek Picard, everything was filmed in HD. And that was her biggest problem. And she said, the man who invented high definition cameras, and it was a man, because a woman would never have effing invented it, right? She's joking, I guess. May he rot in hell for all eternity. May the man who invented the HD camera rot in hell for all eternity. And she says, well, Data at least got to put makeup on. But she says, it's all right for you, Mr. Android, Sirtis said. The rest of us look like something the cat dragged in. Well, in 2020, why is Marina worried about what she looked like? When in 2016, she was already telling a man, you shouldn't be worried about what women look like. And you shouldn't even have daughters if you're worried about what a woman looks like. So Marina, why are you worried what you look like in 2020 if in 2016 a man shouldn't even be bringing it up? It seems like it's okay for you to be worried about what you look like, but no one else can be worried about what anyone else looks like. And I'm going to be honest, you were right in 2016. We really shouldn't be worried about what someone else looks like. But he never said he was. You just assume that. So I was curious, what did she dress like? What did Marina Sirtis dress like? So first I figured, well, in 2016, right now, Melania Trump, I'm sorry, I'm always going to have a problem with her name. Mrs. Trump, the former president's wife, is 50 years old. This year, Melania is 50 years old. So I went back and Marina Sirtis is 65. So in 2006, Marina was 50 years old. So what was Marina wearing when she's the same age as Melania is now? And Google image search. Oh, well, here is the very attractive Marina Sirtis at 50 years old. And what is she wearing? Well, clearly is wearing stuff to show off her brains, obviously. I mean, look, we've got more than one. Oh, yeah. Very, very interesting choice. Pretty much every picture is a very, very low-cut top. Frankly, I think she's always said she was a beautiful woman. She might be a smart woman. I haven't talked to her on that deep a level. I'll tell you what I've talked to her on Twitter. She doesn't seem particularly too smart, but she doesn't seem stupid. But she clearly didn't mind showing off what she had when she was 50 years old. And you know what? More power to her. I don't think she should worry about what she was wearing when she was 50. But then in 2016, when she made those comments about how dare you take note of a woman's attractiveness, and if you're a man who looks at a woman like she's attractive, you shouldn't even be able to have a daughter. Well, what was she wearing in 2016? Because by that time, she was 61. So, her clothes had changed, right? Her clothes had changed. Not a lot of low cut. Even what is low cut isn't nearly as low cut as it used to be. The shirts go up. Very smiley face. She's got a happy face when she looks at the camera, but a hell of a lot more conservative dressed than she used to be. And then just for curiosity, what is she wearing these days? So there's not a heck of a lot that we can find in 2021. So we'll just do 2020. Oh, and here she was on Star Trek Picard. And, oh, that neckline, even higher. Even higher. Listen, Marina is not an unattractive woman at any age. But clearly, her dress has changed between 2006 and 2020, 2021, as it should, as one might expect it to be. But why is it Marina only has a problem with judging the attractiveness of women when she's got a dress like this? Okay, when Marina was dressing like this, she wasn't telling anybody, how dare you look at a woman and think she's attractive, and I hope you don't have daughters if you do. But when she's dressing like this, now it's not okay to look at women. It's not okay to look at the parts of women she was showing off. It's not okay to look at the parts of women that got her the parts that she played. It's not okay to look at the parts that got her a paycheck. She didn't mind showing them off in 2006, but now you have to only think about women's brains. Even if that woman is 15 years her junior, or more. It's just very messed up, Marina. It's messed up, and frankly, I always thought you were better than this. You don't do a very good job of coming across like you care about your character. It kind of reminds me of that episode where the alien possessed you, and you told that poor woman that if she couldn't keep up with the Enterprise, she might consider transferring to a transport ship or a cargo ship. It's a lot less pressure. Yeah. No, that's okay. Phone rings. So, Marina, I have to say to you, if you can't keep the mean girl inside you on Twitter, you might consider transferring to, I don't know, writing op-eds for actual newspapers. It's a lot less pressure. Anyway, that's all. I don't want to beat the bush on this too much. No pun intended. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, click the bell icon. Check out birdofprey5.com for all your Bird of Prey 5 needs. And in a few seconds, click out one of the upcoming videos to see even more good stuff by me, Bird of Prey 5. Kapla all, bird out.